My name is Bill Drake, and I am a cancer survivor. I'm a survivor of esophageal cancer. On September 11, 2013, having had no symptoms whatsoever, going in on my motorcycle to the appointment, thinking I'd be on my motorcycle, going back from the appointment at home and conducting my life as normal. But that's not what happens when you get cancer. Things don't go totally normally.
TargetCancer Foundation was founded 10 years ago by my brother-in-law, Paul Poth. He founded the organization based on his own experience facing cholangiocarcinoma, which at that time had no approved treatments and really no effective treatments at all. And his experience was that in 2 years of facing the disease, he never received a treatment that really actually helped him. He created the foundation based on that experience and the fact that he was told that there was no research happening, and that was the reason why there was no treatments.
My name is Nabil Bardisi. I'm an associate professor at Mass General Hospital and Harvard Medical School. I've been working with Target Cancer for the past 9 years, and they've been really fundamental in allowing us to really think hard about how to build a program focused on cholangiocarcinoma research, to develop the essential resources, to recruit more people to the lab, and to, again, really make this a major commitment. Foundations have a very important sort of moral force in the field. They can be very effective in bringing together pharma and academia. Target Cancer specifically has been very much networked in with both sides and has brought me together with institutes in Boston and around the country.
My name is Adam Bass, and I'm a physician scientist working at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Our group has been working closely with Target Cancer for about the last 8 years now. I feel that having a relationship with Target Cancer, which really is about building something long-term, is extremely valuable. Very often when any cancer researcher works with a foundation, the relationship is somewhat transactional. It's not necessarily a relationship. By working repeatedly and continuously with Target Cancer, we've been able to build rapport where we really understand how we're on the same team of how to advance this field.
We work with the patient community and the caregiver community directly. The experience of being diagnosed with a rare cancer is different than the experience of being diagnosed with other cancers. And people are faced with challenges that are unique to rare cancers. So being able to provide guidance in that regard is helpful. Ultimately, what we want to do is help to empower patients to be advocates for themselves, to make the best choices, to find the right treatments that are available, and to be a partner in the research process.
What has been great is knowing that I can be invited into meetings and opportunities that otherwise would never happen anywhere else in the country. When I was in DC, that was my whole purpose, was to create an awareness that we are doing it ourselves, and you need to get on board with this. And we received a really good response from the senators and the legislators. It was a transformational experience for me to be in DC and to represent my disease and to be able to advocate directly to folks who can make a difference. I've had a chance to speak to my heart to Adam Bass and to his researchers, and my message was really simple. What I had to tell everybody in that room was how grateful we are for what's happened. And I'm so grateful for this organization and what they've been able to achieve.
My understanding of cancer prior to my father's diagnosis was that there were options, and that chemotherapy, radiation, more standard of care type options, or trial drugs that were vetted and fairly specific to disease. Come to find out that isn't necessarily the case. It really was so helpful to know that a 30-minute drive away there was this well-established, knowledgeable base that really could provide guidance. And I always think of that phrase, "no one fights alone," and that was the first thing I thought of when I came across Target Cancer.
On Good Friday of 2014, Bruce called me. He had an episode of paralysis in one of his legs. I brought him to the emergency room. They ordered CT scans. We got the results of the CAT scan the next day that there was something wrong, but nobody had an answer for what was wrong. When we heard the initial diagnosis of cholangiocarcinoma, I was very fearful, probably more than Bruce, because I had already done so much research and I knew what the statistics were and I knew what the survival rate was. I kind of knew the course that it could take. Bruce, on the other hand, took it on as, okay, it's just one more thing that I'm gonna have to battle and I'll get by it and I'll get through it and I'll beat this too. So Bruce was asked to donate any tissue that was removed during this surgical procedure to eradicate the cancer, and he agreed for them to be able to use anything that was viable that would be important to the research of this rare cancer.
Patients are a really important part of the research enterprise. Their generous donation of tissue allows us to develop essential models. And a really important experience for me was to meet a patient through TargetCancer and be able to show him the cells derived from his tumor that allowed us to make model systems that were the first of a certain genetic alteration that happens in cholangiocarcinoma patients. And to be able to share this with a patient has been a really important experience for us, certainly as a motivating factor, and encourages us to ask questions not only about how we can understand this disease and how we can develop strategies that maybe one day will be effective, but also to think of what we can do in the short term to help people who are currently living with this disease.
The day itself was a very positive experience for all of us. Bruce was very excited, I was excited. Getting to see the actual lab where this research takes place. They thanked Bruce. Every person in that room thanked Bruce for his generous donation to help further research. I don't think he understood the magnitude of what he chose to do.
I think he'd be really satisfied to see the work that he started continuing, and in continuing in a way that is really built on his idea. At the same time, I think he'd be pushing us along to do more and to keep moving forward and to not slow down.
Kristen Palma, I'm the president of TargetCancer Foundation. My husband Paul was the founder 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I could never even imagine what Paul was doing. I couldn't understand why he was doing this. Why would he want to do something like this in the last months of his life? But now I see what he was thinking and I see why. And I think the thing I've loved the most, besides the incredible science and all of the accomplishments and breakthroughs that we've made, but I think the thing that's been most important to me and has felt the best are these relationships that we've made with patients and families and the doctors and scientists. I mean, they've all become like a family to us, really. I'm really proud of the way that we have committed to scientists for a long period of time. With Nabil, for example, as discoveries are being made, because he's had time to create these relationships with the doctors, what that allows is for patients to have options that they didn't have before, and patients are getting an extra year or 2 years. Myself, when I hear an extra year, 2 year, I say to myself, that's not good enough. But it is pretty darn good, because one is that in the year or 2 extra that the patient has, another discovery might be made, which will give them more time. And the second thing is it gives memories. And what that means is an extra birthday party, a wedding, a high school graduation. What it would have meant for my son is his own independent memories of his father, instead of just the memories from other people around him. And that is worth every hour of work and every single dollar that we get.